When you're starting a business, every penny counts, right? So a cheap website, it just seems like the smartest move you can make. It gets you online, it saves cash. But what if that bargain comes with a hidden price tag? One you only see way, way down the road. Let's get into it.
So here it is, the big question. When you go for that affordable website, are you being a savvy entrepreneur? Or are you accidentally stepping into a trap that's going to cost you a whole lot more in the long run?
And honestly, the answer is kind of surprising. Sometimes a cheap website is the right move. But for a lot of folks, it's the start of a really frustrating journey, one that ends with a painful realization about what that bargain actually cost them.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Just picture a brand new business owner. They are fired up, they've got a great service, and they know they've got to be online. So their first thought is website, and they're running on one huge, very common assumption. And that's the classic, if you build it, they will come myth. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? If your website says you're a plumber in Chicago, then anyone in Chicago searching for a plumber should find you. But here's the thing, that is just not how the internet works.
So here's the absolute crux of the issue. The problem isn't the cheap website itself. Not really. The real issue is the huge gap between what the business owner thinks the website is going to do, bring in customers, and what it was actually built to do, which a lot of the time is just to exist.
And that gap, well, that leads us right into the next phase of our owner's story. The site is live, the virtual doors are open, but it's quiet. The phone isn't ringing, and that initial excitement starts to dissolve into this nagging confusion.
You can almost feel that doubt creeping in, can't you? At launch, it's pure excitement. A year goes by, maybe a few calls come in, but they're mostly from people you already know. Then you hit year 2, and that little worry has become a big, loud question. Why isn't this working?
So our owner starts digging around. They go down this internet rabbit hole and find this whole other world of digital marketing they never knew existed. They learn about service pages, location pages, blog posts, and it clicks. Websites have to actually grow if you want them to show up on Google. And then it hits them, that gut punch of a realization. Their website, it's like a sealed box. It was never, ever designed for new pages or more content. It was built as a finished thing, not something that could evolve.
And this brings us to the hidden price tag. It's not about paying a developer to make a tiny change. No, the real cost is so much bigger. And you don't measure it in dollars, you measure it in lost opportunity.
Let's think about it like this. A cheap website? It's basically a generic online brochure. It attracts price shoppers. A strategic website, on the other hand, is a growing asset. It's built specifically to pull in your ideal clients because it's laser-focused on your expertise. Totally different tools for totally different jobs. I hear this all the time from business owners with these generic sites. Oh, we do everything. They think it sounds impressive, but you know what a potential customer hears? They hear unfocused. It doesn't answer the real question, which is, what are you the best at, and who do you do it for?
Yeah, that lack of focus creates a massive messaging problem. You end up with all this cookie-cutter text like high-quality services slapped next to some generic stock photo of people smiling in an office. The whole thing is built for speed, not connection, and it does absolutely nothing to build the trust you need to actually win a client over. And that's where the SEO limitation comes in, search engine optimization. Because the site can't grow, it's just stuck. See, Google wants to show people the most relevant, helpful, up-to-date answers. A site that's constantly growing signals that you're an active expert. A static one, it just kind of sits there, gathering digital dust.
Now, let's be fair for a second. Why do so many smart people make this choice? Well, it usually boils down to the two main phases of any business. You've got survival and you've got growth. And what you need in each phase is completely different.
In those early days, pretty much all your energy is just about survival. Paying the bills, keeping the lights on. A cheap website fits that goal perfectly. But once you start looking toward growth, your needs totally change. You need to build momentum. And that's when a static website becomes a huge anchor holding you back. So what does that path to growth actually look like? Well, it's all about strategy. First, you have to nail down your most profitable niche. Then you craft a message that speaks directly to those people. After that, you build a website that's structured for visibility right from the get-go. That's how you start attracting ideal clients instead of just tire kickers.
And this brings us to the conversation that every business owner really should be having from day one. It's a talk about goals, about strategy, and this is the most important part, about setting crystal clear expectations.
And let me be perfectly clear about this. A cheap website can be the right call, for sure. If you're just dipping your toes in the water, testing out an idea, maybe not fully committed yet, a simple, affordable site is a great, low-risk way to just get something online.
So, when you boil it all down, the real problem was never the price tag. It was always that gap between expectation and reality. It was thinking you bought a machine that generates customers when what you really bought was a digital business card. Which brings us right back to our final question. After all of this, what is the true, hidden cost of that cheap website? It's not the few hundred or even the few $1,000s you paid for it.
The real cost, it's the time. It's the 2, 3, maybe even 5 years a business spends just stuck, spinning its wheels with a tool that was never going to help it grow. And that is lost time you can never ever get back. That's a price no business can afford to pay.